right, sitting here with one of my favorites, Leo Laporte.
You
Leo?
don't even know who I am.
Nah, that's
You don't even know who I am.
But listen, some of my favorite people are people I don't know.
Oh, well, that's okay.
I didn't know Abe Lincoln.
You didn't know him.
I didn't
How
know.
could you know him?
I didn't know the porn star Seika.
Well, I think we all know her in a certain way.
Yeah, biblically.
Seika. Boy, you must be old.
Oh, man.
Seika.
I'm going old school.
Seika. Wow.
Yeah.
So that was in the natural days.
Yeah.
That was when women were women.
Hey, I'm just saying, Leo, some of my favorite people are people I've never actually met. And now I can't count you amongst them.
I'm no longer in that elite group.
Leo Laporte is known as the tech guy. Leo has been doing this for way longer than any of these Johnny-come-latelys have been at it. I mean, for you, you started with what, reel to reel? I mean,
I did, and razor blades.
Yeah, I mean,
you remember that, don't you? You're not that young.
No, I do. Well, I didn't get into radio until.
Yeah, you're not really a radio guy.
No.
You're a celebrity.
Yeah. No, I got into radio in 94, almost, the middle of 94.
Yeah,
Did not miss it. Here's my point. Jimmy Kimmel got me into radio at K-Rock in Los Angeles, and K-Rock in Los Angeles, one of the flagship stations, and one of the biggest stations in the world.
You bet.
And at the time, one of the most influential stations in the world. I say the world because who are we going up against? Nova Scotia?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
it's a pretty big station in Hamilton.
K-Rock is a massive entity and as big as it gets. And back then, when Jimmy was doing some production for the morning show, literally in 95, was cutting and taping together pieces of tape.
Yeah, you have the tape, you go like this, and you roll it back and forth.
And you put the strip on your leg, really like a Mexican lady making tortillas. It was insane. And
those razor blades too. I mean, they were heavily used.
Yeah, that's right.
They were.
Oh, at K-Rock, are you kidding me?
They were a little dull.
Yeah, let me just get a quick freeze off that razor blade, and then we'll cut together our morning zoo bit. But it was a very valuable lesson because Jimmy said, you need to learn how to do this. And I said,
really?
I said, I need to learn how to do that like I need to learn how to draw in a fucking cave.
And you were right.
And I was right. I was like, it's 1995. We're not going to be cutting and taping pieces of tape together. He said, you need to learn this. It's the wave of the future.
That's the old school. That's very old school. That's like,
But old school was mid-90s. And
hard to believe.
We weren't in a, small market somewhere on an AM station. We're a huge market, a huge FM powerhouse, and we're still cutting tape together.
It sounded better in those days when you actually had tape and razor blades, and that was, don't you find the audio quality was so much better than nowadays? Well, it's digital.
I think we're just high. I'm now, as I said hi, saying hi with a different
good.
spelling to someone
like
who's taking a
visual
picture.
pun.
So, Leo, how did you start your tech career?
Well, I was an old radio guy for a long time, just a DJ, and then I did talk radio, and in about 90, I think it was 1990, 91, this guy named Rush Limbaugh came along, and about 550 midday hosts got fired all in one swell.
Oh, right.
Big boom. It's like, and I was one of them. And so I started they said, well, we're not going to fire you, we love you, so we're going to make you work 9 hours a day doing specialty shows on the weekends. So I did cars, I did real estate, did home improvement, did food, did wine, I mean, all of that stuff.
Right.
And I said, I'll do all that, but you got to let me do a computer show, because I was like that. At the time, the one thing I really cared about was computers. So I did a computer show, and over the years, kind of eliminated food, wine, cars, home improvement, and real estate, and just started doing computers about 92 or 93. And that's actually been really good.
And the computers,
that was a good move. Been
back
very good to me.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you have more computing power in your iPhone now than you did in that 6 foot by 9 foot Tandy.
Well, it's not even computers anymore now. I mean, it's technology. We talk as much about cell phones and home theater as we do about computers. And the internet's really changed everything. I mean, the internet's.
Yeah.
I mean, this was pre-internet.
Well, what about consumers on the internet? Like, I would say 8 years ago, 10 years ago, what percentage of people bought something via the internet 10 years ago. You know that number?
I don't know the number, but you're right. It was really small. I don't know if you remember the first time you bought something online. Was it a little nerve-wracking to give him your credit card to enter it in?
I had my assistant do it and use his credit card because I didn't want to get screwed with, and it was hardcore porn, so I didn't want it traced back to me. But yeah, I mean, we're of a generation where we don't like giving away our credit card number. On the other hand, everybody who's coming up now, every kid is just going to be weaned on purchasing stuff on the computer, right?
It's even better because Apple figured out, if you just store the credit card number, then they only have to push a button,
right?
And they've spent $1, and it's easier than slots in Vegas. You just push that button, push that button, push that button. There's no connection to purchasing at all.
Yeah,
right.
It doesn't. Well, one of the things there's a couple things about them getting your money. If it feels like they're physically taking your money,
you hold on a little bit.
You hold on a little bit versus just take it off the credit card, or just push the button.
Do you shop on Amazon ever?
Yeah.
Do you have one click turned on?
Yeah.
That's deadly.
Yeah, I know.
Because you look at something, you say, I like it, push. That's it, it's done, you bought it.
Right. Versus layaway. You
Rent to own.
Go down to Sears. Right.
Do you ever?
I don't understand how renting to own works on anything.
My first apartment, I rented to own the furniture.
Really?
Yeah, and like a year later, you own this crappy furniture. It's really crappy furniture.
I know, and you've just paid
10 times
$1,300 for fake wood veneer credenza that you would never. Would have been $40 if you just laid the cash down.
It's aimed at the same people who cash their checks at those storefront check cashing, and they take like 20%.
It is. I've said it many times. It costs money to be poor.
Yeah.
When you go in and buy a car, if you're rich, you can get 2.9% financing or 0% financing. If you're poor, you get 10% financing.
Exactly.
Just even little things like, take for instance an ATM. When I was poor, I would take out $20 at a time. They would charge me $1 at a time. It was literally 5% of what I was taking out. Now I'll just go for the max and pay 1% or less than 1%. When you put $4 of gas in your car every time you fill up, you don't fill up. You only can afford to put $4 or $5 and you stop and get gas.
What you're saying is it just doesn't pay to be poor.
It's right, and it sucks.